Andrew. Welcome at the Introverted Business Experience. I'm Brent Jacobs. This here is Andrew Sterling Ansley. For some, he might need an introduction. For others, he might not. In the sense of he's actually been quite active in the SEO community. And for those who have been following him, it's been quite an interesting ride. I'm more interested in your business journey, but I do want to tap base on some of your SEO ventures as well, because you've
Sorry.
been, that's all right. You've been what they call an unconventional SEO so far. You've also been the guy who actually taught me some of the GSA stuff. I don't know if you remember
Oh
that.
yeah, I do.
Yeah. For those who don't know what GSA is, it's a spammy tool, but if you use it correctly, you can actually use it to do a lot of fun stuff, which Andrew taught me in the past. It's really cool stuff. But that's that. I will let you go and introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you already introduced me a little bit, but yeah, Andrew Ansley, I have been in SEO since about, I guess I was first reading it back in like 2016. And then I first got my, I guess my break, if you want to call it that, in 2017. And then I've just been doing that ever since, nonstop. I think I'm just eternally curious and I'm always trying to do some experiment. I'm always reading, I'm always listening to a podcast. I basically have YouTube open like 24/7 and I'm just like listening to something as I'm doing whatever I have to do. But yeah, right now I was doing agency work.
Yeah.
Now I'm in-house. So I'm a director of content and communications for a enterprise finance company and loving it. It's a fun gig. And then I do some affiliate stuff here and there as well. And that's kind of like the direction that I'm heading right now is I'd love to do more affiliate just because it's, I don't know, like you get to own your own thing.
Yeah,
It's no
exactly.
clients, still getting to use that SEO.
Yeah.
So hopefully that works out because I'm putting quite a bit of money into the next project that I'm working on.
And now, I said before that you were the unconventional SEO. Like you've always had this different way of doing things, I would say. Like
Oh yeah.
everybody always plays the basic macros, right? Like just links and content, links and content. But I've always found that you did things quite different and more data driven.
Mhm.
How did you get to your specific approach? Is there some specific content that you're following, or is this all by just you doing testing?
Yeah, I don't even honestly, the way that I started was with blackhat. I really loved blackhat SEO just because I was mainly doing local, and I think blackhat works really well for local. I think if you're doing national now, it's much harder. I think if you're doing something where like if you're a SaaS company, for instance, and you're trying to do blackhat, I
Yeah.
think that's not worth the risk and or the time. You can still get away with some stuff. Like I'm not counting tier two backlinks as a as too spammy, but anyway, so that world really excited me, and I just tested everything out, tested all the tools I could figure out. I've built millions of websites with like spammy stuff. I've done so much was it AI content, spinning content, mass deployment of pages. But I think the one thing that attracts me about digital marketing over the previous form of marketing or any other kind of form of marketing, I think it was a lot of brand marketing was popular back like 20 years ago. We have data now. We can literally track everything.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that. Absolutely love that. So even though I'm not the best at, you know, data analysis, I don't have a degree in it. I'd say that that's the way that SEO is moving is kind of this blended heavy data analysis. Like everyone should be able to plot their own charts and like understand statistical significance. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think like if you're going to get any degree and then move into SEO, it would probably be a data degree. I think would be probably the most helpful. But I don't really know why I went the route I went, other than I guess what my teachers would say is that I never believed that they knew best. I always thought that I could figure out some way that was better. Sometimes that's true. A lot of times I just waste my time.
Oh,
And
it's
then like
actually the
mission
next
is
thing.
trusted them.
So next thing I was going to ask you is why SEO? Like a lot of us, we roll into SEO, for different reasons.
Mhm.
In my case, I was a school dropout, needed to get some quick thing going, and in the end, this was more stimulating. But what
Yeah.
was your main reason of getting into the SEO world? Like you got really deep, right? Like I've seen your posts, like you're a very data driven guy. Some posts are like way over my head in the sense of you understand things in a complex manner, so that's great. Why SEO? Like, is there something specific that you like more than anything?
Yeah, these are hard questions. They're simple but hard. I would say that I like SEO because it's for someone with ADD, it's really easy to, well, I should say much easier to stay focused and locked in. Uh, it just grabs my attention, and I don't know how to describe it, man. It's just there's so much to do in it, so much creativity, so much everything. Like you don't have to just listen to how so and so says it. You don't have to just listen to me and how I say how to do SEO. My way can work. Someone else's way, which might actually contradict some of my way, could work. And generally speaking, it's just because us as SEOs don't have like single variable testing at our disposal for every single thing we do. So I might be attributing my success to certain tactics that are might not actually be providing success. And I hate that feeling. But as SEOs, we just kind of do our best. I actually have a blog out there. I think the site's redirected right now, but I actually answered this question in a full blog post. And the way that I started, I thought I was going to be a pastor. I was going to school to be a pastor. And then I made fun of my pastor and said, screw religion. Um, I got like this really dark phase. I was like under my pastor's wing. I was supposed to be like, I was interning under him and all sorts of stuff. And I basically had this phase where I just kind of rejected God entirely. And I don't know, man. I needed to find something. And the way that my school works is that to graduate, you need to have an internship
Yeah,
or you have to do some giant project. But that giant project is supposed to last, 2 years. So basically from like the end of about sophomore year till senior year, you're working on that project. And I was, but once I got kicked out of my internship because I said, you know what, I don't want to be a Christian. I don't want to live in your world. I had to find something else to do. So I found my dad's an entrepreneur, and my brain naturally works like as an entrepreneur anyway. My dad's been teaching me how to invest since I was like 8 years old. He would drive me to school and give me business advice.
oh
Uh,
wow.
like some of it was stupid though. It would be way over my head. It would be like at age 8, he'd say, Andrew, even if it's a friend, always get everything signed. And here's how to like make sure this is in a contract. I'm like, all right, Dad, I'm 8. I don't know what you're talking about. But to this day now, even when I'm with friends, I'm like, we need this in writing because my dad's been screwed many times. But yeah, I ended up finding SEO out of a necessity to kind of graduate. And what I ended up doing was I just Googled easiest job to do from home, creative job to do from home, and then I found marketing, and then I Googled more about marketing. Was like, all right, what takes zero money and I can do immediately. And then I found, okay, SEO. And that's when I discovered that SEO has almost a zero barrier to entry. As
Yeah,
long as you can buy a website and write and type on a keyboard, you're good. That's all you need. Everyone, that's all you need. Like anyone who sees this, you can really start doing that. But
exactly.
um,
But I would say that's also
awesome.
scary, right? Like
It is. It is.
yeah, like there's a lot of no worries. No worries.
Oh,
I would say there's a lot of fraudulent people. Like it's really easy to claim that you're an SEO without having like all you really have to do is be a smooth talker and be able to sell SEO. So it's quite dangerous as well as both as it is exciting.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that is quite dangerous as well, but I think it's also a good thing. So it's a mixed thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, when I first started, was saying I could do things that I could not do at all. But it got me to learn. And the other thing is I had backup plans. Like, so if anyone listens to this and they're in that phase where they're super beginner
Yeah.
and you're offering things that you don't know how to do, make sure you have someone else that you can, like a senior SEO that you can use. And like if you have to, you have to give that client to them. Like, and that's what I did is I'd take on a client, realize I can't do it, but I knew this one guy, freelancer in my area, and I just gave him all my clients basically. And I said, all right, what I'm just gonna make no money. You do all of the brain stuff of just tell me what to do. And I basically got free training because I kept bringing him clients and then was like, you know,
Yeah,
help me, please.
I would say a lot of beginning business people, especially in the internet marketing industry, they're too focused on money, right? Like when I
Yep.
started, same thing. I worked my ass off for free. And I think you do need to do that to gain some form of field experience because we don't have the luxury of like getting an actual internship in SEO is difficult, I would say, as well as finding a credible source to learn from. You know, like there's
Yeah.
so much out there. um how would you say that, like would you do it differently, or would you still be the one who worked for free to build your experience?
For free all day. I recommend everyone work for free. Um, just try to offer your services to clients. Literally walk. I walked into doors. I just like literally was like, "Hey, can I do free? Can I'm trying to launch a business portfolio in the SEO space, and I'm going into local businesses offering my services for completely free at the exchange of a video testimonial or a written testimonial, and there's nothing to lose. Like anything I'm doing for you is also backed by I'm what do you call it, apprenticing under a senior SEO.
Yeah.
I try to make them like feel comfortable,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think it's the fastest way. So if you don't want to go that way, that's fine. But like, just understand that you won't progress in the industry nearly as fast.
Yeah, exactly. I see that you're doing a lot of SEO, but I've also noticed that you're about to get your real estate license. Is that something you're
Oh yeah,
pursuing?
yeah. I This is because, in my opinion, SEO is you could view SEO as just data and numbers and stuff, but SEO is largely about the consumer. It's about the reader. It's about understanding. Honestly, the best SEOs understand marketing, and that's I like to think that I understand marketing to a certain degree. And uh, what that means is if I'm going to work and launch a national mortgage brand, I should probably, as the director of content, have a real estate license or like that level of knowledge. I don't have to be like officially licensed, but I should have a really big chunk of knowledge shoved in here where I can just evaluate the content that my team is creating. I can evaluate, uh, I need some way to evaluate it other than just like, oh, that sounds good. So I want to be a subject matter expert. And I'm actually, same thing. This actually is my least favorite part of the job because I don't want to get my real estate license. But I do what I need to do. Um, I actually am getting into the liquor space as well, and
That's
uh,
exciting.
training to get the first degree sommelier certificate or whatever. So I
Yeah.
have to go through that class too. Basically, if to be an expert, you have to, like a wine expert or liquor expert of whatever kind, you take these classes. But I just think it makes you a better marketer and you can rank easier. Ultimately, you'll be able to do things a lot quicker too.
Yeah, I would say that's often the big problem is I see people taking on clients, but they're not willing to understand the subject of the clients
Mhm.
they're marketing for. And it's one thing to say that SEO is content and backlinks, but I feel like you have to understand what you're marketing to do it in a way that it makes money. Like rankings are cool, but you
Yeah.
also need to make your clients money. Otherwise, it's not a sustainable business. So yeah, I would say that understanding your market is really essential. I see that you've done a lot of SEO work in general, right? But you've
Yeah,
also worked for Raven Tools, or
yeah, that was my first
uh,
real gig was Raven Tools.
is there any particular reason why you left, or you just felt that it was your time to?
Oh yeah. They if John Henshaw would have stayed there, I would have loved to stay at Raven Tools. I probably still would be at Raven Tools because Raven Tools could have been a dream job for me. I love software. It's a honestly the best place to learn SEO is at a software company known for providing SEO tools for
Yeah,
the community. And at one point they were on a trajectory to be one of the biggest. They could have been the biggest. And then for those that don't know about Raven Tools, Moz and Raven Tools. So Rand, you know,
yeah,
leader of Moz. Then we have John Henshaw, leader of Raven
yeah,
Tools. Google had an issue with basically they were threatening to remove their API and cut off Raven Tools from accessing a bunch of stuff that was very integral to the tool.
yeah,
They threatened both Moz and Raven. And for whatever reason, John acquiesced. He said, okay, we'll stop. And I can't remember the full details, but once that happened, Moz actually didn't. They found a workaround or something. But once that happened, the tool, the everything kind of started declining, and
yeah,
a company called TapClicks bought it out. So I'm technically I was employed by TapClicks and not Raven Tools, but and TapClicks is like an omni-channel marketing tool that's meant to like visualize your data, kind of like Domo. And anyway, they didn't know anything about SEO there, and they also didn't have like an SEO team. They didn't really everyone was in California, and this was before COVID too. So like being this tiny little like redheaded stepchild in a satellite office in Nashville, it just the trajectory. I'm always trying to go somewhere the quickest and like what will make me learn the fastest, learn the most, progress in my career. And it just became clear that I wouldn't do that there. So I made some YouTube videos. I don't know if you know this, but I started sharing some black hat stuff, like how to do cloud stacks. It ranked number one on YouTube for a long time. Google Stacks, Cloud Stacks, um, that kind of stuff. And then I think it was Mentorprise that I posted a video that was how to make 1,000 PBNs in 30 minutes.
yeah. Saw that one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a great tool. It's awesome. If you are going to go the tiered route, I definitely recommend owning your own system instead of trying to build a bunch of subdomains on a domain that's just tied to junk. So once I did that, though, I got found by someone who runs a drug rehab, or they were the director of marketing for a drug rehab, and they offered me twice the paycheck as what I was getting at Raven. So I was like, peace, guys. I'm out of here. So I switched and went into the drug rehab space, and that one was super competitive, and I loved it. So that's why I left Raven. Too much opportunity elsewhere.
And why did you then end up going the mortgage route anyway? Like drug
It
rehab
seemed
was,
challenging.
yeah. So
Launching a national mortgage brand, I mean,
yeah,
that's finance, your money, your life, one of the most heavily regulated things in America. One of the, I mean, literally, wealth is built off of
yeah,
homes and real estate.
yeah,
So being tied to something that integral to like the American success, like the United States, largely like the system works because of the way that like our mortgage system, our banking system, our legal system, and I'm like getting into that world was really interesting to me. So that's why I went into the mortgage space. I also went into uh okay, but here I'm gonna take your little collar off. There you go. Anyway, I got an anxiety attack uh trying to do all this stuff. I basically I had all these goals to be this hyper successful 7-figure, 8-figure marketing guy, and I kept on making progress, but honestly, my brain could not take it anymore, and I had to take a break, man. So I went in house, And honestly, I love it. I love being in-house. I kind of switched my goal to, I realized I don't necessarily care about being an entrepreneur as much as I thought I did, where I want to create like an agency. I do want to create something, but I want to create like an affiliate thing if I'm going to create something, and not like, or maybe go into the software space and build a software. But I just didn't want to do what I was doing. So went in-house, and the mortgage thing was a good offer. And strangely enough, the connection to mortgage was they found me because they needed reputation management, and they actually, I can't even say some of the stuff they needed, but basically I it was like these people are trying to blackmail, or they're trying to attack us, and we need protection, we need help. They weren't necessarily looking for content. So that's what originally attracted me to them was, oh, that's cool. Do I get to use GSA? Do I get to use SEO Autopilot and Money Robot and Enterprise and Cloud Stacks and all that stuff? And yeah, so it seemed fun, and it was, and we've stabilized. And then they had an offer to work full time, and I said sure.
Uh, you mentioned all these tools, right? SEO Autopilot, which I love, by the way, Money Robot and all. I think the biggest issue is getting those links actually indexed.
Mm-hmm.
To like, what's your way around it? Is that something you can share? Is that something you got recommendations on?
Totally. So I don't see anything wrong with it, honestly. The way to get most things. So I sold a course a while ago that was the local destroyer course, and it was creating a bunch of your own properties um, that do pass authority, pass relevance. The way to make those actually work, though, is because a lot of that stuff is kind of spammy, especially syndicated content. If you're just syndicating to like a through IFTTT, and you're creating this ring of properties, it's becoming duplicate content, really. But you can actually force it to still be in the SERP and be high up in the SERP purely through brute force. So I basically had like, I want to say 2 to 3 of the most powerful servers you can buy. Where they're huge, they're massive. I think it was like $300 a month just for the server, for a single server. Yeah, so I'm talking they're beefy, and I had that CPU maxed, like nonstop running tools forever, and that was kind of my brute force method of like, as long as I'm continually building out properties and trying to basically, I choose my main properties I want to stay in the index, and then all those other links are constantly pushing that there. So that's the way that it works, is like if you're sending links to these pages, enough links is enough of a reason for Google to keep it in the index. Google will try to remove it. Like these are all automations, right?
Yeah.
Because it is spammy. It's a thin quality site, low quality. So just keep sending links essentially. And one of the things that you can do is just buy 2 cheap PBNs, like links, and any any link, anything you want indexed, just send 2 links to. You're fine. Generally, especially if it's like a cheap PBN link, that works really well. So
Yeah.
anything you want, a cloud stack, all that stuff, all it takes is about a $40 commitment or $40 investment, and there you go. That page is now, or that stack will be good.
Now, nowadays in the SEO community, there's this new hype with Google News websites. I don't know if you've seen
Yep.
that. Like, I don't really believe in the whole money making aspect of it, because I think the ROI simply isn't there to do it at a scale. But I myself, I own some news sites just for testing purposes. Would you say they have some benefit? Like, are they beneficial? Are you using them? What's your opinion on Google News sites?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. So I'm part of a mastermind. Stephen King had his 31 flavors meetup, and I met these guys in the from that group. And a guy from our mastermind, he had an idea for Google News sites, and he made an empire out of it really quickly within about a year. And kid you not, the I'm not going to use names, but basically that idea that literally came out of my mastermind with Richard Fong is the guy that
Yeah.
runs it. It generated, I think, $48 million in a sale. Yeah, the network. I can't remember what big company bought it, but it was massive. It was almost like $50 million. And I wish I could say more about it. I don't know what's supposed to be private because a lot of this stuff is like
Is
when we
this
talk.
about Bradley Bennett? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So that idea came out of the mastermind. I'm not exactly sure what Bradley Bennett wants to share, but the idea of making money with news sites is obviously it's tested, it works. Like
yeah,
you have to figure it out. I think a lot of people just think like, oh, Google News sites, money,
yeah,
or
yeah,
AI content, money. Like, no, you have to do a lot of work to really figure out a way to make these things work for you. So I'm not going to write it off entirely, but I'm going to say this is if you're like buying links from or trying to make, I'll say this, buying links from a Google News site seems a little like it's not worth it to me just because the best benefit of a Google News site to me seems like one, it's the instant indexing, two, it's the relevance. So I could have like a Google News site that's just themed for my local area, right? Like Nashville. But if I sell those links out to everyone in the world, then, if I sold one to you, you have no connection to Nashville and
yeah,
you're going to be writing content about whatever country, whatever theme. Some people are doing links with it. Some people are doing like they're talking about marijuana, they're talking about all sorts of stuff. I'm like, okay, like whatever you build, just make sure that you enjoy or whatever you buy, make sure that you trust what content is going on that site. So I think Google News sites are fine, but ultimately it's still low authority unless you build up the authority.
yeah, exactly.
And I don't think it's a magic pill. I think it's worth exploring. I think a lot of black hat avenues are now decreasing. Like I think
Yeah,
there's less and less black hat that's working. I actually think that there's promise in Google News, but I'm not going to tell people where to go with that. But like
yeah,
try to work around, think what could we use with a Google News site? How could I monetize this? How could I sell this to a local client? Is this a strict SEO play where I'm trying to pass authority, or is it something else?
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and that's generally my advice for most black hat things.
Yeah, I agree on on most of it in the sense of like I do know there's money in Google News sites. It's just that I think the curve in getting the money out of it is not worth the effort if you're not willing to go all in on it. In my opinion, that's why I'm not really doing it. But something entirely different, something really deep as well. You mentioned an anxiety attack, right?
Yep.
Um, I see that as coming a lot with well, a lot of SEOs eventually tend to suffer from it. I myself had one 2 years ago. And you said that was like you always want to be this successful guy. Now, what does success mean to you? Like, how do you measure it?
Yeah. Success for me is measured by a sustainable way of living for one. I want to have a life. like I Success isn't you being miserable with $1 million in your hands. I'll tell you right now that like having more money doesn't, I've already hit the limit where like more money doesn't mean much to me now. I still enjoy getting it, but once you get into the six-figure range, there's
Exactly.
literally psychological studies that talk about it. You actually have diminishing return, like from $70,000 in the US is kind of like peak happiness. And then you actually start losing happiness after about 110, $120,000. So I've been above that for a long time now. And I can tell you that it's only brought stress. I'm not
Yeah,
going to trade it and give it away, but it's like, dude, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So for me, success now is I my dream, my goal is I want to make sure that my family can we are a whole family of entrepreneurs and or at least dreamers where we want to build businesses. So any of my friends, any of my family, I want to be able to point and say, I can make a business on TikTok with that. I can make a business with SEO with that. And I can launch anything, anything and everything. And I want that for my friends, because if they have an idea, I want to make it happen. And that's kind of my success now, is I want to help people as much as possible. I was talking to Steve Toth about this, and I actually have a book that he recommended. And I can't remember the title of it. I'll give you the title of it afterwards. But the whole premise, though, is just give as much as possible. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Is it's the whole reason why I'm revealing more of my templates, and why I'm fine now going on podcasts or going on being interviewed and stuff. I have literally another podcast after this in 20 minutes, and I love it. I don't know. I think that's what success is, though. It's being able to provide for your family, being able to help your friends, and being able to help strangers kind of create the next generation of people that can create businesses, entrepreneurs, whether it's SEO or anything.
It's pretty inspiring. Now we're running out of time, so I want to thank you ahead. Like, thanks a lot, man. It means the world to me. I've been following you for a while now. I will continue following because you've been sharing a lot
That's
of
awesome.
cool stuff on LinkedIn. So, is there anything you would like people to go to? Anything you would like them to check out regarding you? Anything you have to, well, basically, your own plug.
Yeah, sure. I mean, LinkedIn, honestly, I'm not selling anything. I'm not, I've sold courses before, and I still technically do in the crypto space, but I'm not looking to monetize anything. I'm just, look, I would like to keep sharing value. So go to my LinkedIn. I share really, I think it's valuable stuff. It's stuff that I wish that I would have gotten years ago. So, and I don't see many people share it. People do, but it's hard to find. So I'm one of the people that actually shares stuff that, you know, is rare. And I think that anyone that's new in this space should definitely look. And if you're looking to get into more of an enterprise space, also come to my LinkedIn as well. Just because if you want to do SEO in that space, you're going to have to be good at data and presenting that data. And yeah, that's kind of my angle on there. So
Uh,
go there, message me. I'm always fine answering questions. I'm really busy. I can't always answer everybody's questions, but I try to.
I definitely recommend checking them out on LinkedIn. I personally do. It's very detailed and very in-depth content that's actually quite helpful. So I will leave a link in the description so everybody can check it out. It's really amazing content. So go check it out. And again, thank you for being here. You're actually my first recording guest, so that's quite amazing to me.
Yeah,
Thank you for being part of the journey.
of
And
course.
I look forward to seeing the stuff that you're going to do.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I look forward to seeing it too.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Oh boy.